chasing us.
Gotta get rid of this car.
Ready? Ethan, the world is coming after you. Your days of fighting for the so-called greater good are over.
Hey, Benji! Go to plan B. Okay, great. Plan B. What is that?
One stunt alone.
Dead Reckoning, July 12th.
That one stunt, guys. That one stunt alone is worth going to see it in theaters. I wish it would be an IMAX. From my understanding, it's still not going to be, which I think is criminal at this point. But we're going to get into all of that, how it breaks down, and what that means as far as the box office and whatnot, because Hollywood needs this thing to fail. Legionist, what's going on? Chrysanth, always great to see you. Robert Williams, appreciate you. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. We're going to just dive right into this, quite frankly, because there's a lot to cover, but I think kind of in the same vein that he did for Maverick, Tom Cruise has some stuff to say, and I think, he was just very grateful is how he came across. So we're going to see what it is he had to say about that, and then we're going to get into what the fans say and think, what the early reactions are, and what Hollywood needs to have happen, what they desperately need to have happen, and how far they're willing to go to rewrite the future. So let's go ahead and take a look.
Car that I drove, that is the car that we drove with Haley Atwell in there. I can't believe that it's at the bottom of these steps. We were doing donuts and the tires were on fire, smoking, not on fire, they were smoking. It's really amazing to be here. It took a lot to be able to film here during that time period. Amazing what the country did, what Rome did, what Venice did, and to be able to finally be here at this moment where we're sharing it with everyone it's quite a privilege. It's quite a privilege.
So we're not going to do the full 90-second clip, but that's just his initial reactions to filming in Rome, to being able to go through the different levels of the pandemic while this was happening for certain aspects, because the pandemic still hasn't ended for some in Hollywood, even though it's over. It's finished pretty much everywhere else. Hollywood is not willing to let it go. But that's Tom Cruise, just being grateful and being honest and thanking Rome for everything that they've done, and thanking Italy and the Vatican, because there's a ton of stunts in this film. We can see that from any of the trailer clips. It's pretty crazy. I don't think I played any music. I really hope not, because I'd like to keep those clips in there, but in the stream. But we'll find out. YouTube has not exactly liked my live streams of late. I'm not entirely sure why. But there it is. That's the cut. That's the cut and dry. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at what Hollywood is saying about Dead Reckoning Part 1, what their anticipations are for the film. So it isn't looking good according to Hollywood. Long-range box office predictions from Tom Cruise's Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 look extremely low. And this is, of course, brought to you by John F. Trent from Bounding into Comics, the fantastic John F. Trent. You guys should definitely check them out. And here's the thing. They're looking extremely low. Per Box Office Pro shared early projections that it'll bring in 65 to 80 million in its 3-day weekend. So to give you guys an idea of just how low that is, that's what they were anticipating The Flash to bring in, between 60 to 80 million. So they're putting this movie on par with The Flash that had Ezra Miller, that had technically three, but two Ezra Millers in it. That's where they're currently at with their projections for this show. Predicted the film will have an entire domestic box office gross between 250 and 320 million. That's what they're anticipating happening domestically. That is incredibly meager, especially considering the fantastic response that he got for Top Gun Maverick. Honestly, I really hope that all this does by Hollywood saying that it's going to underperform, and because people are just over the box office, people are over the cinema, people don't want to go to the theaters anymore. That's the whole they're drumming up. People have grown out of it. They just want straight to streaming, but the streaming industry is falling apart, so that logic doesn't hold up. We're watching the streaming services implode. They're just absolutely being decimated. And yet, that's what people want. They don't want to go to the theater anymore. No, we want to go. We just want to have something that's worth going to see. That is the difference. Hey, Steve, what's going on? So it's Hollywood is missing the bigger picture here by a long shot. There's really no way around it outside of, I guess, sticking your head in the sand. I'm not sure why they think nobody wants to see this film. I really don't, because even the reasoning they give is not all that fantastic. Here is the fantastic stunt that's been all over Twitter and YouTube and pretty much every social media platform. You can tell he's having the time of his life when he does this. I mean, what the things that Tom Cruise is doing to try and entice people to come back to the studios. This man is carrying Hollywood on his back. Literally, he is carrying Hollywood on his back, and they are completely ungrateful. And that's why he got stiffed at the Oscars. That is 100% why. They are completely ungrateful, and they can't admit that this is what the people want. They can't. They won't. They refuse, because then it means that they were wrong. And they can't be wrong. They just can't. So projections far below. These projections are far below what the site had initially predicted The Flash would bring in. They predicted on May 19th that The Flash would have an opening weekend between 115 and 140 million and go on to have a gross domestically between 280 and 375. That dropped significantly the week before it came out, between 60 and 80 million, and it didn't even hit that. It hit 55 million its opening weekend. 55 million its opening weekend. So even their lowest estimate wasn't low enough. The Flash is going to lose a ton of money. A ton of money. It's insane. I completely agree with you, Steve. Cruise is America's Jackie Chan. He's 100% all in on the stunts. And listen, the Warner Brothers was warned well before The Flash ever came out that people were going to boycott it because of all of the issues surrounding Ezra Miller. So let's think about this. We Henry Cavill from Superman, Ben Affleck is Batman, even though they gave him about, if I'm being gracious, 9 minutes of screen time in the Flash film. But that's his last outing as Batman, as far as we know. He is no longer Batman for the WB, for Warner Brothers, for the DC universe, now the DCEU. So he's no longer he's no longer Batman. The Rock is out as Black Adam. Didn't even really get off the ground as Black Adam, and now he's out. And Henry Cavill is out as Superman. So you have those three things because they were like, we're going to go in a different direction. All the while, they're saying, we're going to hang on to Ezra. We're going to hang on to Ezra as the Flash. He's not going anywhere. Despite all of the legal issues and personal issues and public problems surrounding Ezra Miller, they're sticking with him. people were like, no, this is insane. He's been caught doing all of these illegal activities. He choked a pregnant girl. He threw chairs at people. He assaulted people. He assaulted police officers. He tried to get out of it by playing pronoun games. He's been accused of grooming and kidnapping. Like, it's bad. It's all around bad. And DC was like, nah. James Gunn was like, nah, it's fine. It's fine. And so you had all these people who were like, listen, Gunn, we don't like what you're doing. We don't like the direction. We don't appreciate this. We're not going to go see the Flash movie, especially because you cut Henry Cavill's cameo and you cut Jason Momoa's cameo. And there was rumors that they were going to cut Ben Affleck's cameo. There we go. I can speak. So you're like, people for months have been saying, we're not going to come see the Flash. Like, you are warned, we are not coming to watch this movie. And still they pushed ahead with it. And so the lowest projections, the adjusted lowest projections of 60 million still wasn't low enough for the Flash. And so based off of how the Flash did, that is their justification for predicting the box office for Dead Reckoning Part 1. They think it's going to cap at 80 and it might hit 65 million. It might. Like that, it's a 3-day opening weekend is how they're going to cover it, or is how it's going to pan out. And they honestly think that it's not going to hit any higher than 80 million. Despite how fantastic the turnout was for Top Gun Maverick and how much hype this movie has around it, and how much you can tell that the whole cast, but especially Tom Cruise, is in love with this story and with this franchise. So they predict that it's only 65 to 80 million because the selling points for Mission Impossible include not only critical commercial success of its predecessor Fallout, but enormous goodwill earned by Tom Cruise from last year's Top Gun Maverick. So they're taking it into account, and they still don't think this movie is going to be outside the parameters of their estimation, of their adjusted estimations for The Flash. It's insane. They've put Oppenheimer and Barbie into IMAX over Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Hollywood needs and wants this movie to fail. So for those of you that don't know, IMAX tickets are more expensive because it's a better setup, it's higher tech, it's all of the things, right? It's supposed to be a much more immersive experience. And I've been to IMAX films, they are fantastic. So instead of putting a dead ringer into IMAX, which is going to be Dead Reckoning Part 1, you know what? I can understand why Oppenheimer, there's been some, not, I shouldn't say a lot, but there's been definitely buzz about that movie. But Barbie is getting IMAX and Mission Impossible. Yes, Steve, exactly. Barbie is getting IMAX and Mission Impossible is not. That is insane. Nobody's going to go see Barbie except the miserable, farty, terrible wine-onts who just want people to suffer and have no joy in their lives and want to be joy suckers for everything else. Like, they just want to suck the joy from everything and everyone else. Nobody can have fun. It's that mentality of they won't be happy until everyone else isn't happy. It's insane. I'm just baffled by it. So they're looking at pre-sales of John Wick Chapter 4 and Fast X. Okay, listen. Fast X may have had higher pre-sales, and I'm not going to lie, it's dumb. That's what you got to love about the Fast and the Furious franchise. It does not try to be anything else except the Fast and the Furious franchise. It was a good time. You were able to just, sit down and enjoy a Fast and the Furious film. That's it. There was no... I went in with the expectation of it being a Fast and the Furious film, and guess what I got? I got a Fast and the Furious film. That's it. And I was happy. John Wick Chapter 4. if you guys haven't seen, if you're going to choose between John Wick Chapter 4 or Fast X, I strongly recommend John Wick Chapter 4 and then go watch Extraction 2 because they're both fantastic. Like, you definitely need to go check them out, okay? And if you don't believe me, you can ask Az from Heel versus Babyface. He'll back me up. Because we all know I'm just a woman. But Fast X opened with 67 million, even though it had higher pre-ticket sales than John Wick Chapter 4, and John Wick beat it by 12.7 million. I can math, I promise. So it's 12.7 million. Hello, Miss Martin Muses. Sorry. 12.7 million, even though the pre-sales weren't as high. People seem to forget that a lot of people enjoy just showing up to the theater and purchasing a ticket. Okay? That's what it's about. That's part of the experience. You get to show up, you pay way too much for concessions. You pay way too much for concessions, and then you go enjoy a really good film, hopefully. That's why, like, the people, it's so funny to me how detached Hollywood is, because it's not just the tickets that cost money. It's like, if you think about it, we're about to quote 10 Things I Hate About You, but it was like, he runs it down and he's like, well, tickets, that's, $30, and, popcorn, that's 53, and she'll want Raisinets, $65 plus gas, so $100. And he's like, no. But, like, seriously, it comes out to, like, especially if it's, date night and you're trying to do something a little bit nicer, and you go to one of those cinemas that also offer supper, like, there's different theaters where you can actually get, you're, like, up on a balcony, and they'll serve, it's full service. It's bar and restaurant whilst you enjoy the film. It's very expensive. It's probably $155 for the night, but it's just, I think, yeah, somewhere around there. That's a pretty expensive, it's a pretty expensive date night, but you get to enjoy the film while you eat, so you don't have to try and figure out supper before or after or what have you. Now, when you think about it like that, these movies definitely have to be worth going to, because disposable income is not what it used to be for a lot of people. And Hollywood has completely lost the plot on that one. They think, oh, well, it's because of the pandemic, it's because of the writer's strike, it's because they're ists and phobes, and yet they never stop to consider that maybe they're just not making anything worth spending our money on. That they've never, that hasn't clocked in their brain. That maybe it's because, it's not worth it to us to go see it. If you're not going to give us something we want, why would we pay you for it? And they're still in denial about it. But that's another stream for another day. The outlet also shared what they believe are going against the film, namely the competition. Here we go. Christopher Nolan's Oppenheimer film, specifically among male audiences. They also claim, this made me giggle, they also claim the film will face competition from Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which releases 2 weeks ahead of Mission Impossible. The Phoebe Waller-Bridge and the Dial of Destiny film, that's going to fall flat on its face. And now, I never, of course, would advocate for any type of illegal behavior, but something tells me a lot of sailing will be done for anybody who wants to hate watch that film. I'm not saying that I will, nor am I saying I will not. I'm just saying there may be some sailing happening. But to say that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is in any way going to be competition it's actually sad. It is actually sad because that means that they think that Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny is any type of cinema that anyone wants. I'm not sure why they think it was. I have no idea why they're giving that much grace to Indiana Jones. I really have no idea, because the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull pretty much butchered any confidence that people had in current day Lucasfilm when it comes to Indiana Jones. And after seeing what Lucasfilm has done with their other IPs, nobody has any hope for Dial of Destiny. Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's just insane. Yeah, always blaming everyone except yourself. We couldn't be the problem. It surely couldn't be us and our lack of talent and our lack of giving the people what they want and our overall contempt for the fans. They also claim a cliffhanger ending could be a blow to the series, typical crowd-pleasing nature, depending on the tone of the film's denouement. Listen, people love cliffhangers if they know they're going to get more. If it's a good cliffhanger, if it's a cliffhanger worth the wait, you know what I mean? It's just insane that they think a cliffhanger is what's going to turn people off. Technically, Lord of the Rings, big cliffhanger. I mean, you had Legolas, Aragorn, and Gimli had just sent Boromir off in his boat, right? For his, after he'd perished, and they were going to chase down Merry and Pippin. Sam and Frodo had crossed the river and were off on their way to Mordor on their own. And we know that we're just like, okay, well, we happen to know that there is a creepy crawly around, and by that I of course mean Gollum, who is following them. Gandalf has also perished, and we're just like, like, how are they going to be able to fight someone? How are they going to be able to fight somebody like Saruman without a wizard of their own? How is it going to be possible? How are they going to inspire confidence in themselves without some type of power to match that the Dark Lord Sauron is throwing back at them? So there were all of these things and all of these questions at the end of Fellowship. I mean, if you'd read the books, it ends in a different place, but still, like, if you had only watched the films, that didn't slow it down at all. It didn't slow it down at all. A cliffhanger is not a bad thing as long as you follow it up and as long as the build up to the cliffhanger is worth it. Obviously, since this is a part 1, it shouldn't be a spoiler that this is going to be a cliffhanger ending because it's literally part 1. So hopefully I haven't shattered anybody's, illusions of this film too much by going ahead and saying that this has got a cliffhanger. So, again, if it's done well, if it's done right, if you have that emotion and that buildup and a successful delivery, cliffhangers can work in your favor. They can work very well in your favor. So that's something to keep in mind. Plus, if you want to talk about, sequels, I mean, let's go ahead and take a look. This is a sequel no one asked for, nobody expected, nobody needed. And domestic box office was $718,732,821. It dang near tied the international box office, which is unheard of. For a total worldwide box office of $1,478,933,621. That is insane. It's insane. The idea that, look at what the turnout was for a 35-year sequel to a film. Nobody asked for this film. Nobody was expecting this sequel. People weren't sure what it was going to be. People weren't sure if it was going to honor the original. And they did it so beautifully. How they represented Iceman and Maverick's relationship, and how Maverick is still, he's trying to outrun what happened to Goose and what happened to him in the past. And he doesn't want Goose's son to go, he doesn't want Rooster to go down that same path. And so he's like desperately fighting to keep Rooster from a fate that he isn't even sure Rooster's going to have. But he made a promise, to Rooster's mom. He promised himself, most likely, when Goose, when Goose died. I hope I'm not spoiling anything if you haven't seen the first Top Gun. And the fact that, at the end of that film, he and Iceman had an incredible relationship and respect for one another. And so you have Iceman, and I love how with Val Kilmer, everything is, if you guys didn't know, he is on, I believe, round 3 of throat cancer. And so the raspiness and the sickness, like that is all real. That's not him acting. It's why he doesn't do voice acting. It's what he's on his, I believe, his third. I believe he beat it and was in remission, and it came back. Then he beat it again, and now it's come back a third time, from my understanding. So he's fighting throat cancer again. And they were able to incorporate that in such a fantastic way, because Tom Cruise was like, I'm not doing this without Val. Like, it's not happening. We can't not have Iceman in there. And so the way that they worked it in, it was just fantastic. It honored the characters. It didn't weaken them in any way, shape, or form. It really brought their fraternity, their brotherhood to the forefront, and showed that even with Maverick struggling, he still had friends. And then when his wingman, passed away, he had to fight for himself, and he had to find a new way, and he had to follow Iceman's example and listen to the advice that Iceman had been giving to him all of this time. Top Gun Maverick is the way you do sequels. And here's the thing. If Top Gun Maverick had come out in the 80s or 90s, it would not have been as impactful or as mind-blowing as it is right now. It was like someone picked this movie up out of the 80s and dropped it in the 2020s. Like, that's how insanely fantastic it was. And it showed what Hollywood is still capable of, but is refusing to do. I'm floored that they would be giving such low predictions for Dead Reckoning Part 1. Muzza, what's going on, you dog? Hey, Boosh. So, to give kind of an idea, we'll look at the last 2 previous Mission Impossibles that came out. So you had Rogue Nation came out in 2015. That's the one where he's dangling off the plane. And it was a pretty good film. I enjoyed it. I think I saw it twice in theaters. And it grossed worldwide $688,858,992. So it did very, very well. But this is, 2 films back. So, all right, it did 195 million domestic. But how did Fallout, which was the direct predecessor to Dead Reckoning, how does that do? What does that look like? Well, if we take a look, it did even better. $220 plus million, 786 million box office plus, so almost 787 million worldwide. So it went up by 786, 688, almost $100 million appreciation for Mission Impossible Fallout. And that's before That's before the pandemic and before we were literally starving for good content and before Top Gun Maverick. And yet they're still going to compare this film to The Flash. They're still going to say that Dial of Destiny is competition for this film. Like the fact that The Flash is in any way, shape, or form a consideration for how Dead Reckoning 1 is going to perform for long-term box office is insane. Do not buy the lies. Don't buy into the BS. Don't buy into the psyop. They're trying to say that basically people don't want to go to the movies anymore, and this film is no different. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your money. You don't need to go see it. They do not want to get shown up by this man again. I have every confidence that that's what it is. Tom Cruise is wiping the floor with Hollywood. He's freaking Hollywood royalty, and they want him to fail. They want him done. They want him gone. They want him ousted. They do not want him to succeed because he will approve yet again that audiences know what we want. Hollywood knows what it is we want from them, and they're refusing to deliver, claiming that this is really what everybody wants. And yet Tom Cruise is about to come out again. He's about to come out again and prove that that is not the case. Now, will this be a $1 billion film for Tom Cruise? Will this be his second $1 billion film? That is a little bit harder to gauge. But if you look, so Fallout had an opening weekend of 61.2 million in 2018, and Mission Impossible 2 had 57.8 million. Again, this is prior to all of the schlock that we have been force-fed from Hollywood. And it's prior to Top Gun Maverick, where Tom Cruise, this man has been proving his chops over and over and over again, but he absolutely hit it out of the park with Top Gun Maverick, and I think a bunch of that goodwill is going to carry over. Whether or not it's a $1 billion film, I can't say, but early reactions of fans for Dead Reckoning Part 1 have been astronomical. They've been fantastic. They love it. This isn't anything that should be surprising, especially if it follows the Mission Impossible formula, because we know the Mission Impossible films are solid films. You know what you're going when you walk into them, and they always deliver, right? So that's a big, big part of it. And they're filming on location, guys. I can't wait to see practical effects, a majority of practical effects and stunts, practical stunts again. I mean, yes, there's some green screen and some blue screen, but I believe this film is like 80% practical, which is something we have not had in a very long time for a film of this caliber. Everything nowadays is in front of a blue screen, and it's just sad. So Eric Davis at Fandango has gushed that I had the absolute best time watching Mission Impossible, impeccably made action film that does not stop entertaining. Each action sequence is long, crazy, and intense. The story is big and sprawling, but I like how it felt both complex and left you dying for what comes next. That's what you want in a story. That's what you want in an action film. Something that, gives you a few seconds to breathe, but takes you off on that next action sequence. And it's not action sequences that are little bite-sized bits where it's a 30-second car chase and then it's 20 minutes of the bad guy monologuing, and then a 15-second bomb explosion where they're trying to escape, and then 10 minutes about the hero being debriefed by his superiors about how he needs to be more careful, right? And it's not these women chastising men for doing what men do. And it's just, this is what we want when we go to the movies. This is what we're looking for. And I think, and I know everybody gets mad at me. I just called it like I saw it. I thought that DC letting go of Henry Cavill was a dumb business move. His reaction did make me a fan, but I do have some reservations because it seems like just about everything he gets cast in, it's used as bait it's like, well, we have Henry Cavill, but then he gets put on the back burner for everything else. So it's like they're trying to use him. It's Cavill baiting is what I call it. And it works because all these thirsty wine-ons, and I'm not talking that they're thirsty for the wine, if you know what I mean, they're going to pay. They're going to show up for that. But those pockets are only so deep. And you can only fish with sour bait for so long. Because eventually they're going to figure out that Cavill's not really in the film as much as they like, or the way that they want him to be in it, which is usually shirtless. Just saying. And it's just sad to see. But what Henry Cavill did say when he was filming Mission Impossible with Tom Cruise, they were talking about, he was talking about the Halo jump. And Tom Cruise was like, he goes, listen, I know you want to do this, but you're not ready and you don't have the training. And if you do this jump, someone's going to die. It's going to be me, it's going to be you, or it's going to be one of the crew. And Henry Cavill was like, okay, I'll pass this time. But he goes on to say that inspired him to do all of this training because Tom Cruise was such a huge mentor and inspiration to him while they were on set. Like, Henry Cavill is putting in, allegedly, I don't know if he is or not, but what he stated when they were doing the publicity and the what is it called when you do the rounds? Press? The press tour, there it is. When they were doing the press tour for Mission Impossible, he said that, what it made him want to do was really focus in on being able to do his own stunts like Tom Cruise does. And The Witcher seems to support that because that is Henry Cavill doing all the sword work. That's not a double. Like, they had to put in a double for some of the female actors, or some of the female actresses. They had to put in a double because Henry was moving so fast and the females couldn't keep up with him. And so they had to, put a wig on a guy, like Henry Cavill's sword trainer had to come in a wig, I guess, or something along those lines. And he had to take the actress's place in order to keep up with Cavill's swordmanship. And it's, hang on, let me see if I can find it, because I don't want to misquote here. I think that was a big draw for a lot of people. And because they were like, okay, well, Cavill's going to be doing his own scenes. And this is what we're going to get to see. Okay. So, yeah, I have no volume because I don't want to get hit on this. But basically, here we go. So, nope, this is Fallout. I'm mad. That says Fallout. Why does it say Witcher behind the scenes? Okay. I don't know. They're wearing Fallout shirts. But this scene right here, so obviously, they're not making contact. This is behind the scenes, so you get to lose some of the magic. But basically, so anytime he has to make contact, they have swords with different color stickers on them. You can see, he's got the shortened sword. And even with the shortened sword, you guys can go check out the full behind the scenes. I'm pretty sure if I play all of it, I'm going to get nailed. But you see how this is shortened? It's because when she comes in, she's so much slower than he is that even when he slows down, it's still too fast and he's still hitting her with the sword. So they had to, even though she trained, she said that she was training for hours a day and she just could not, she wanted so bad to be the one to do the sword fight, but she couldn't do it. She couldn't keep up with him. So they had to bring in a guy they had to bring in the sword trainer. I believe it's him because, it's supposed to be her, but I believe it's him who comes in and actually is fighting Cavill in that scene as the Witcher. So it's entirely plausible that had to do a lot to do with his mentorship from Tom Cruise. And Tom Cruise always said, if there's more of a burden you can like take on yourself, you guys have to go check out all the interviews, but it's like the more of the burden you can take on for yourself from the crew, the easier things can kind of go, because there's less stopping, there's less trading out. You can usually, do the takes, but the Halo jump, because Cavill did not have the hours in, he is not the one that does that jump in Fallout. He's not the one that is actually doing that jump. And you wouldn't know that, but he didn't take that as like an insult. He listened to Tom Cruise, because basically if Henry Cavill had said, no, I'm jumping, then they would have let him jump. But Tom Cruise was like, listen, you don't have that. You like, these guys have hundreds, some thousands of hours of training. You don't. If something happens, someone's going to die. And Henry Cavill was like, okay, just this once. Like, because he really wants to, I don't think, be exactly like Tom Cruise and necessarily in style of acting, but I think he has a lot of respect for him just overall to his dedication in the roles that he takes, because you can tell that Tom Cruise loves playing Ethan Hunt. Like, he absolutely adores this role. It is 100%, it's him. It's what he loves to do. And he's not concerned about it. He's not worried that it's gonna, what are they gonna do? He's had one of the best careers in Hollywood. This man's career spans like 4 or 5 decades. It's insane. And he looks fantastic for his age, by the way. So it's just remarkable to think that this man is still going, he's still pushing it out, he's still pumping it out, and yet you have actors specifically, you have some actresses who don't want to film that day because they don't like the weather outside, they don't like the clouds, even though they're going to be in front of a blue screen, they don't like the clouds outside, so they don't want to film that day. Or they think that getting tossed into a pool of water, a controlled environment pool of water, is anywhere close to the type of stunts that other people do. Yeah, Tom Cruise was also, I think he was an exec producer, but definitely a co-producer. And he did take in the health and safety of his crew and fellow actors at the whole time. We heard that freak out where he's like yelling behind stage, and he's like, he was just adamant that you need to keep it on. You need to do it right. Like, we're trying to, I think a lot of it, I know I did. I chuckled because I was like, my gosh, what do you mean you're saving the film industry? Like, it's burning, it's ashes. No, the man knew what he was talking about. He knew exactly what he was saying. He was not wrong. He knew that if he didn't deliver on these films, Hollywood would have disintegrated already. He literally saved the box office last summer, and he is about to do it again. And Hollywood is in denial about it. They're trying to swear up and down that The Flash and Oppenheimer and Barbie are of the same caliber or more as this film. And that's why Barbie is to be an IMAX over Dead Reckoning. It's the dumbest business decision ever, but it will help inflate Barbie's numbers to however meager they will be. I honestly don't see Barbie doing very well, solely because based off of what I've seen in the trailer, I don't need a Barbie who gets a reality check, if that makes sense. I don't need adult Barbie getting a reality check. When I think of Barbie, I legitimately, it's Mattel, it's a Barbie doll, it's fantasy, it's playtime. You get to decide who Barbie is, where she's going to go, who she's going to marry, what she's going to experience, and you get to sort of control that universe, and it always has a happy ending. And it doesn't look like that's going to be the case for Barbie in the Barbie film, which is just bizarre to me. But here we go. Jeff Snyder at Above the Line states, Mission Impossible 7 is very good, though it lacks the emotion that made Maverick great. The climactic train sequence is awesome, and the entire cast rules. From my man Tom Cruise to the great Shea Wingham, there are two minor issues, villain backstory and Ethan's rush bond with Grace. Well, I mean, it's only part one, for starters, and in high-intense situations, people can get very close. As far as the emotion that made Maverick great, I don't think you could you can't cap that in a bottle and pour it over every film. And the thing is, yes, it's a Tom Cruise film, and yes, there is a lot of backstory, but this is different from Maverick because Maverick is an action adventure and a drama, right? Because Maverick had his past that he's trying to outrun. He has basically he's trying to take on this fatherly role for Rooster that Rooster doesn't want him to because Rooster resents him for his dad, for his father passing away, but also for keeping him out of the academy and setting his career back. And he thinks he did it out of spite or because he doesn't trust him. And that wasn't the case. It was because Maverick made a promise to his mom, but Maverick isn't going to tell Rooster that. So that right there already adds the emotional stakes to like 13. Screw 11. It raised those to 13. With these, it's an action. It is first and foremost, it's an action film. And Mission Impossible has never forgotten that. And because first and foremost, it is an action film, I would not expect it to have the same type of emotion that Maverick did. I expect there to be emotion, but I expect 90% of it to be adrenaline pumping, trying to save the world, figuring out who you can trust, and then latching on to anybody that you can, which would explain why he bonds with Grace if he knows he can trust her and he feels responsible for her, or that in some way, shape, or form, she makes him a better man and a better agent, right? So we've seen that before in the past, especially in Mission Impossible 2. So this isn't anything crazy out there for this Mission Impossible IP at all. As far as villain backstory, quite frankly, as long as it's not I'm a misunderstood villain, I will be so happy because I'm quite over that villain backstory. I don't know about you guys, but I'm okay. Perry Nemiroff says Dead Reckoning Part 1 is another win of the franchise. Yet again, production value is through the roof with some of the most well-defined and exhilarating set pieces photographed in ways that truly make you feel like you're in the middle of the action. The emphasis on capturing things in camera makes a huge difference, and you can feel it. Also really dug the mission this time around and how the technology thereafter factors into characters' individual arcs. That's great. It's that's what I want to hear. Like, I want to hear that there's practical set pieces, exhilarating set pieces, well-defined. They're capturing it in camera. They're not fixing it in post. They're lighting it. Look at how well lit this is. Oh my gosh, you can actually see what's happening. Thank you, Jesus. I am so sick of dark and shadowy and black and gray and we'll fix the lighting in post. No, you won't. You can't. You never do. Stop it. Start lighting your sets again. My God. It's awful. I hate when I can't see stuff. I love this. Do more of this. Please, for the love of God. Also, that blue is really, really pretty, and I really, really like it. I know that's a complete side tangent, but that is a gorgeous blue, and I'm in love with it. And look, like, they actually have emotion on their face. They're acting. Oh my gosh. What is this? What is this? It's acting. I've forgotten what that looks like. Good Lord. Yeah, also when you're in the service, you become family, hence the heart. Mission Impossible is spycraft where the need to be reclusive, detached. Yeah, absolutely. So let's see. I think there's two more. This might be the last one. So Barry Hurt says, Dead Reckoning Part 1, Tom Cruise hates streaming so much he's made an algorithm the villain. And bless his crazy ass, because this is a behemoth-sized spectacle. One go for broke set piece after the next. Close to Fallout excellence. Henry Sersney fans will go nuts. Okay. So I am loving what I'm hearing. Now we know beautiful set pieces don't necessarily mean anything, but it's not just that it's beautiful set pieces. It's go for broke set pieces, one after the next, within camera shot action sequences. So that means we're filming I don't know how to put this. Like, it's like a one-shot action sequence. It's not shaky cam crap. I'm so over shaky cam. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but listen, Born Identity, I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. I know it's your fault. And I hate it so much. I hate shaky cam. But yeah, guys, this is just I have been looking forward to this film for some time. They've been hyping it up. They've been showing behind the scenes. They've been showing some of Tom Cruise's stunts, especially that giant jump, the base jump with the bike that we've been seeing. And it looks fantastic. This is the first time that my expectations of a film are not at like -12 when I go into a theater. Because even like when I went in for Super Mario Brothers, I didn't have any expectations because I was like, it's going to be a cute little kids film. They'll probably put some member berries in there for older Nintendo people, and it'll be fine. But the story was so good. It made sense. He was driven. There was familial love that was like it was a father who thinks his son is a failure and is teasing him because he actually wants his son to succeed, but he sees one son doing what he thinks is failing, and he thinks he's taking his other son with him, so he's just trying to be a father and be like, hey, you're failing and you're taking your brother with you, you need to grow up. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like, oh, that hits you right in the heartstrings. And it's just so it was just so fantastic and well done, and the story made sense. And he was, he saw Princess Peach and he fell in love with her at love at first sight, basically. And she agrees to help him, and because of his grit and determination, she agrees to let him come with her. And they get to grow closer over this mission together to try and save the Mushroom Kingdom. And they take on Bowser together. They rescue Luigi along with the other captives. And the ending when he and Luigi as brothers take down Bowser, it's just so fantastic. The story was fabulous. Well done. So well done that even as adults who aren't necessarily Nintendo fans, they were able to enjoy it. That's what good movies are supposed to do. But this is the first film, because even Top Gun Maverick, I was like, look, if it can just have like a drop of the magic that the first one had, I'll be happy. And then I think my husband and I went and saw it like 4 or 5 times in theaters because it was so good. It was just fantastic. It hit every beat and every note that it was supposed to. And quite frankly, Mission Impossible does that as well. And it's so very much, it's very American. I don't know that I would call it America's James Bond, but honestly, I do think it's sort of surpassing James Bond because the last few James Bonds have not been good. They just haven't. I never really was oh gosh, now I can't even think of his name. He's been Bond like 5 times. See, that should tell. I can't even think of his name. But I can tell you Pierce Brosnan. I got no problem with that. Timothy Dalton. Tell you that one. I mean, we can throw it all the way back. Daniel Craig. There it is. Yes. Thank you. That was his name. That's been the most recent James Bond's name, Daniel Craig. I could not think of his name for the life of me. No, Sean. That's what I meant when I was going to say Sean Connery, but then I saw Craig, and I was like, that was his name. But yes, Sean Connery is the OG James Bond. I can literally name the rest of the James Bonds, the rest of the actors who played Bond, and I couldn't remember Daniel Craig, and he's the most recent. Like, that should tell you the state that James Bond is currently in. I totally checked out of James Bond. It was not good. It was just not. Yeah, I did really. I did. I wiped that from my memory, quick, fast, and in a hurry, like as fast as I could. I was not impressed with Daniel Craig as Bond, ever, really. Like, everybody was talking about how everybody liked Skyfall, and I liked the song. The film itself was kind of eh. Quite frankly, I was not like overly impressed with it. I don't know. It wasn't my cup of tea. But the sad part is I can remember George Lazenby's name, and I could not remember Daniel Craig's. And of course, Sir Roger Moore also played 007. But I can name the rest of them, but I couldn't remember Daniel Craig. Like, that's crazy to me. Miss Martin Muses, you are too kind. Thank you so much for the $10 super sticker, number one fan. No, I am your number one fan. You're amazing, and I love you. And guys, you should go subscribe to Miss Martin Muses. She is almost at 1,000 subs, which means she is that close to being monetized. So definitely get over there, sub to her, show her some love. She's a good egg. She's a very good egg. But yeah, I can't. That was the other one that everybody liked, Casino Royale. That one intrigued me. I think it set up a lot of potential for Craig's Bond, but then when you look at what came after, it really just it's not if it was a standalone, sure, but knowing what comes after, nope. It's just more of the same. Just more of the same. Daniel Craig is the worst Bond. And I'm saying that, yes, George Lazenby was a better Bond than Daniel Craig. I am 100%. Yeah, David Niven. But I cannot, I don't give Daniel Craig any grace. And I don't think Ethan Hunt is a James Bond character. He's not as cavalier. Like, Ethan Hunt wants a family. He wants to love. He's tried a couple times to be a family man, and it just hasn't worked out for him. So I'm interested to see how they're gonna tie off that particular arc with his story. Because he's much more where James Bond is supposed to be sort of, a gentleman spy. Ethan Hunt is much more direct, and it's less of being a gentleman and more of literally just trying to blend in. So I wouldn't say that they are the same kind of spy, so it's not the same kind of movie, but I would say that Mission Impossible has taken over modern James Bond for me. Now, I don't think Mission Impossible, if I had to choose between Mission Impossible and say, like Roger Moore or Sean Connery or really any of the other Bonds besides George Lazenby, especially Pierce Brosnan. Like, Pierce Brosnan is peak Bond for me. Sorry, he just is. And sorry, not sorry. And so if I had to choose, like, if you took Craig out, of the Bond franchise, and we're like, hey, sans Craig Bond, would you choose Mission Impossible or would you choose 007? I'd choose 007. I would choose James Bond. But if we're including Craig, or if I had to choose between Craig's James Bond and Mission Impossible, it would be Mission Impossible 100% of the way. And that is really a testament to, because like I own a few of the James Bond novels and I've read them. And it's amazing how much you can screw an adaptation up on screen. There we go. Okay, Scott Mance says, finally here and worth the wait. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning is absolutely fantastic and the best mission yet. Great story, awesome cast, incredible action that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Tom Cruise has topped himself with the best action movie of the summer. Okay, now my expectations are even higher, because if Tom Cruise is able to top himself, that is quite a feat. Yes, I agree, Skyhound. Sean Bean as the villain for GoldenEye was just, it was perfection. Sean Bean and Pierce Brosnan's chemistry, honest to God, one of the best I've ever seen on screen. It's just incredible. I think Sean Bean could probably work with anybody, but the way that Pierce Brosnan was able to just feed, like they were able to feed off of each other, it was just so great. The intro where he's like, you're late, 007. And he goes, sorry, 006, had to stop off at the loo. Like it was just great. Yeah. He was 006, also the villain. Yep. Bet one of the best Bond villains. Like, really, truly one of the best. Like, even I would say better than Blofeld. I really would. Gentleman Spies, when action spy thrillers were good. Oh, I missed one. Okay. Dead Reckoning Part 1 is fantastic, according to Germain Lucier. Dynamite, timely story, excellent new characters, huge variety of action, and a final set piece that ranks top 2 to 3 all time for the franchise. It gets a little dense at times, but its pace and intensity more than cover for that. I don't know what he means by dense. I really don't. Does he mean there's a lot of talking? I don't understand. It just keeps going. All right, there we go. Official synopsis for the film states, in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, Ethan Hunt and his IMF team embark on the most dangerous mission yet to hands. With control of the future and the fate of the world at stake, and dark forces from Ethan's past closing in, a deadly race around the globe begins. Confronted by a mysterious, all-powerful enemy, Ethan is forced to consider that nothing can matter more than his mission, not even the lives of those he cares most about. Oh, I want to see it. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so excited. Look at all the running. He's actually moving. Oh, they're standing there now. But look, running and more running. There's actual action in an action movie. They're dangling off of stuff. I'm assuming this is the train piece that they were talking about. I'm very excited for this as well. More running. Intense stare. Driving. Getting ready to take on multiple bad guys, obviously. And of course, because he's Ethan Hunt, he's going to get out of it. But more train sequence. Fighting on top of a train. I'm here for it. I'm ready. I'm ready. I can't wait. July 12th, 2023. Can't come fast enough. So, like, is anybody else really confused why it's coming out on a Wednesday? Because Independence Day weekend is the weekend before. So are they just hoping that people are still on vacation? Is that their goal here? Like, is there a 3-day weekend in July that I am forgetting about? I'm just, I don't think there's a 3-day weekend that's, ooh, hiccups, pardon me. I don't think there's a 3-day weekend that I'm forgetting about. Somebody help me. Is there another? Let me see. Oh, you know what? I'm on the computer. Let's just. Weekends in July. Long weekend, bank holiday. So, yeah, like it's just 4th of July weekend. It's just 4th of July weekend. So I'm not sure why this is coming out on a Wednesday. But I'm going to go see it. I'm going to go see it. And I'm like, I'm going to watch it. And I'm going to enjoy the ever-loving bejesus out of it. I want to. So, guys, if I come out of that movie, I'll do a immediate out-of-theater review. And I might cry either way. Like, because I'm a girl and we do that. We cry. When we're happy, when we're sad, when we're angry, we cry. But if I come out of this movie and I'm not happy, you're going to know that it's 100% a disappointment to me. And I won't tell you whether or not to go, but just know I am super pumped for this movie. So if it is not good, I'm going to be like, it's probably going to hit like a sucker punch to the gut worse than, gosh, I'd say worse than, what was that? Force Awakens. If anybody doesn't know, I hated Force Awakens the second they called the Falcon a piece of trash. I can get into that on another stream, but it's just wild to me. Yeah, 4th of July is on a Tuesday, but the 12th is the entire week after. Like, it's the Wednesday of the next week. So my birthday is July. Congratulations, happy birthday. And I usually go to the cinema with friends and have a meal after. So putting off celebrating until the 12th, is it due to Oppenheimer? I don't know. Because regardless, I don't think Dead Reckoning is getting any, I don't think it's getting any IMAX releases unless you get to go see it early at a fan screening. Let's see. Okay, so I don't know if I trust this. Hold on. Hang on, guys. We're looking stuff up in real time. So let's see. Let me see. Come on, let me search. Click. Why won't it let me? There we go. Okay, so, okay, so according to Variety, the fight for IMAX, how studios beg and barter to get Mission Impossible, Oppenheimer, and more blockbusters on premium screens. 2 Hollywood blockbuster talents are having a battle. I think Tom Cruise beats Christopher Nolan. That's just my humble opinion. In one corner, Tom Cruise is gearing up to do a victory lap from the behemoth success of Top Gun Maverick. See, so Variety is like, hey, based off of how Maverick did, it should do well. with a sequel to his other big action franchise, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, expected to be one of the biggest movies of the summer when it opens July 12th. In the other corner, Christopher Nolan, one of the few directors so famous that his name alone can draw crowds, I don't know about that, is readying to release his highly anticipated Oppenheimer. Okay, here's the thing, guys. I'm not super excited for Oppenheimer. That's probably something I'm going to watch at home, to be perfectly honest. That's not something I want to spend hours in a theater watching. I just don't. I think they are blowing. This is the thing. Like, they're making it sound like Mission Impossible is only going to do well because Top Gun Maverick did well, not because people actually want to go see the movie itself. And they're trying to make it sound like because it's a Christopher Nolan film, that Oppenheimer is the most talked about film of the summer. And that's just not the case. Big budget drama is about the creation of the A-bomb, launches just a week later on July 21st. Yeah, so there's a week difference. At the center of the drama is access to IMAX and how the company's 401 North American screens will be divided between the two box office draws. Except in this case, there wasn't much to negotiate. Paramount's Mission Impossible 7 is only playing on IMAX screens for 1 week. That's thievery. As first reported by Puck, a newsletter that covers the media business, before it has to relinquish all of its showtimes to Oppenheimer. That's insane. This is despite crews making a few calls around town to remind everyone that not even a year ago, Maverick earned more than $100 million from IMAX alone. By shorting the IMAX run of Dead Reckoning, he suggests all involved parties risk losing out on serious coinage. This is true. They're literally, guys, there's no other way to say this. They are purposefully trying to chop the legs out from underneath Dead Reckoning. So I don't know why they can't bump it back to the 4th. I don't know if it's a contractual thing. I'm not sure what it is. I know they just did the world premiere in Rome like yesterday. So I'm not sure why they can't release it on 4th of July weekend. Maybe it's because they think people won't go, but I am telling you, people will go. This is insane. They are literally trying to, this is Hollywood trying to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're trying to, manifest. They're trying to manifest their reality by saying that Oppenheimer is what people really want to see. So we're going to give it, because it's Christopher Nolan, we're going to give it all the IMAX showtimes. And Dead Reckoning won't make that much money. So now Dead Reckoning won't be able to make as much money because it's only in IMAX for 1 week. That is insane. It's crazy. Long before the oft-delayed MI sequel moved to mid-July, Universal had already ironed out a rare agreement for Oppenheimer to control IMAX's entire North American footprint for 3 full weeks. That's insane. Nolan, who uses IMAX cameras to film their movies, are typically granted 2-week exclusive window. Oh, it's not about how well you do. It's about who you know and how well they can treat you. I swear. Greta Gerwig's star-studded Barbie, which also opens July 21st, isn't playing in IMAX at all as a result. So Barbie went from splitting IMAX with Oppenheimer to not getting an IMAX at all. And now Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning is only getting 1 week. I feel sad in a way we can't accommodate all of them. I know Mission Impossible is going to be a really big movie. IMAX CEO Rich Gelfond tells Variety, Nolan has a special place in IMAX's heart because he uses our camera and promotes us. It's not a matter of us saying which we can make money on. I would hope after Oppenheimer's run, we can bring back Mission. That's too late. You're going to give, that's a month. So if Dead Reckoning gets a week in IMAX and then it's exclusively in IMAX is going to just show Oppenheimer on all IMAX screens in all showings for 3 weeks, that's a solid month of Dead Reckoning after Dead Reckoning's opening before it goes back to IMAX. That's insane. It's just ridiculous. Attendance has rebounded in pandemic times, but the demand to watch certain movies on the biggest and brightest screens known in the industry as premium large formats has grown exponentially. Yes, it has. So why are you not putting, it's literally Nolan uses their cameras, so they're going to give him exclusivity. That's not how you run a business. That's really not how you run a business. I could see them giving a 2 weeks of an Oppenheimer run, but 3, honestly, I think more than a week is kind of pushing it, and not splitting the screen at all with anyone. That is, I mean, that's insane on the face of it. It's insane on the face of it. Like, what happens when the first week of Mission Impossible it's in IMAX and I wonder if that when's July 21st? Is July 21st also a Wednesday? Because that would make sense. Okay, so July 21st is the following Friday. So technically it'll be on IMAX for 9 days. I bet that's why it's coming out on a Wednesday. Because they pushed it back probably as far as they were contractually allowed to the 12th, so they could get a couple extra days on IMAX. I bet that's it. That's crazy to me. Like, nobody is gonna, I'm sorry, you're not gonna fill every single time slot on every IMAX screen in North America. This isn't just the US, guys. This is North America. North America. Control IMAX's entire North American footprint for 3 full weeks. That's insane. I don't know how many IMAX theaters there are in North America. Hold on. Sorry, I know you guys can hear my clickety clacking in the back. Okay. So you're telling me Okay, I know it's Wikipedia, guys, but just bear with me, okay? So you're telling me that we've got North America. So we're at 5 in North America. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So we're at 19 theaters already. 20, 21, 22, 23. Uh, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 60, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 70, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 80, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're talking about 100 IMAX theaters. 100 IMAX theaters in North America. And you think that for 3 weeks straight, Oppenheimer is going to be able to fill every showtime and every IMAX screen in the entirety of North America for 3 weeks? That's ridiculous. That is insane. There's no way they're going to be able to pull that off. There's no way. I just, like, why can't you accommodate all of them? I don't understand it. Nolan has a special place in IMAX's heart. Okay, that's great. But this is the kind of stuff that, like, you shoot yourself in the foot with. Like, it's like giving your brother the lead role instead of the more talented actor because it's your brother. Like, this is a version of friggin' nepotism. Like, I get it. He uses your cameras and he promotes you, and that's great. But Tom Cruise has promoted you too. So I don't understand. Like, there has got to be way more going on here than Nolan uses our cameras. Like, that just doesn't make any sense. I don't get it. Let's see. So how do studios ensure their movies are playing on as many premium large format screens as possible? They fight over them, of course. For distribution chiefs who handle the theatrical rollout of a movie, an important part of the job is haggling and calling in favors with the movie theater owners to guarantee upcoming box office draw has more prime showtimes than rival offerings. IMAX operates differently than other PLF operators because it doesn't take as much input from studios when scheduling showtimes. Studios, of course, set the release dates for their own movies, but when there's a pileup of blockbusters like the 1-2-3 punch of Indiana Jones and oh my God, stop with the Indiana Jones. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about Indiana Jones. My God, is that why they're delaying it? Is that why? Because Indiana Jones comes out next week. That's why. Guys, Indiana Jones is not going to be a competition. Oh my gosh. Oh, studios. The Lucasfilm brand is damaged. Indiana Jones is not the draw that it once was. And the freaking, what is it called? I can't even think anymore. Trailers and all of the behind the scenes and all of the interviews and everything that we've seen promoting this film. Everything we've seen. It's terrible. Yeah, it's Disney's, like, they are, my gosh, they are in their death throes and they are going to throw as much. Disney, let me help you out. No matter how much money you throw at this, it's not a good movie. People are not going to come to your show. They're not going to come watch your film. We don't want it. We've rejected your last 3 Pixar films. Lightyear was a flop, and Elemental was an even bigger flop. I don't even remember the Pixar film in between or before that. Wasn't it the blue people? Oh gosh. What was it called? Oh yeah, Turning Red. Okay, so it wasn't even the beyond the one I was thinking of, but yeah, Turning Red, which was also a giant flop. I mean, I don't understand where they're coming, like how they could possibly think. I think Luca did okay, but I don't think that moved any mountains. Onward, that's what I was thinking of. This one. That one also flopped. I think Soul and Luca were actually, like, people liked them and they weren't even released in theaters. So I just, whew, I don't know what to tell you, Disney. Like, clearly you are still in the denial stage of mourning and grief. You need to move to acceptance real quick and start selling Lucasfilm. Like, honest to God, sell it. Give it to someone who's actually going to be able to do something with it. And I don't know, just I have no idea. Get rid of it. You don't know what you're doing with it. It's completely mismanaged. Kathleen Kennedy has no idea what she is doing. And Indiana Jones, that's why they're not releasing it on 4th of July weekend, because Indiana Jones comes out June 30th. And it is not going to be competition for Dead Reckoning at all. None whatsoever. And quite frankly, I'm sorry. You can be a Christopher Nolan fan. I've seen his films. It's not one that I'm going to go back to the cinema to watch. And it's not going to be able to fill every time slot in all of those 120 roughly screens of IMAX screens for 3 weeks straight. It will not at all be any kind of competition, and Oppenheimer is not going to fill that many seats. I have no idea why anybody even thinks that the Phoebe Waller-Bridge movie is in any way, shape, or form going to come close to either Mission Impossible or Oppenheimer. But I think Oppenheimer is a way more niche market than Hollywood is willing to admit. And that's it. Dolby, ScreenX, and 40X, essentially any other premium large format. Bargaining for those screens is similar to standard 2D operation, which is a more flexible arrangement that factors in the popularity of a movie as well as the rapport between exhibitors, studios, and filmmakers. So I can't wrap my head around this. I really can't. I don't understand why Hollywood continues to shoot themselves in the foot. They have a hit on their hands with Dead Reckoning. I mean, with all of the promotion, all of the behind the scenes, all of the material, all of the interviews, it's just, you can tell, like, that's the difference between, like, when they did the interviews for, I can't even think, Disney's trilogy of not Star Wars, the last one that came out. It's just Winter Soldier. What do you mean? I don't understand. We looked at the numbers earlier. The Rogue Nation brought in 688 million plus, and Fallout brought in almost 100 million more. I don't understand. What do you mean it's not been a hit? It hasn't been a $1 billion film, if that's what you're getting at, but they have made money. So I am confused. Opening weekend, 61.2 million. So, I mean, production budget was 178. So that means that they had to break even, they needed to make about 400 million. So it's definitely, that doesn't mean it's not a hit, Winter Soldier. 1 billion, like, this is crazy to me because when did 1 billion become the new benchmark for being a hit? I'm so confused. Like, I really am genuinely confused. When did 1 billion mean a hit? Nobody is saying that Chapter 4, John Wick Chapter 4 wasn't a hit. That movie is more profitable than anything that has come out so far. It was a lower budget film and it made a lot of money. So I don't understand when 1 billion became the benchmark for success, because usually as long as you turn a profit, that's a success, isn't it? Like, that's what it's always been. It's as long as your film turns a profit, that's a hit. A flop is when you lose money, like what Flash is about. Flash is about to lose $350 million. Elemental is also about to lose about $200 million. So it's just, I don't understand why 1 billion suddenly became the benchmark for success. That's insane. I mean, these aren't Marvel films with $300 million budgets. Like the MCU, especially like the Avenger films, like, I mean, yeah, obviously that was going to be a draw, but not, movies do not need to hit $1 billion to be a hit. It's an incredible benchmark to shoot for, but by no means does that make it a success. I mean, I'm really, I think the production budget here, let's hold on. I don't know if this is gonna do what I want it to, but we're gonna try. Okay, so they're coming out less than a year apart, part 1 and part 2. And Production budget is $290 million. So let me get out my handy dandy calculator so everybody can see it. So if they have a production budget of $290 million, and if we double that, right? So if we double that for what is that called? Advertising. I can't remember what it's called. So to break even, it needs to make $580 million, assuming that this is what they spent on advertisement. So if the production value, so this film needs to roughly $600 million, it makes its money back. So it needs to make about $600 million, which Rogue Nation made that, and Fallout made over almost $200 million more than that. So I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Like, this movie doesn't need to hit $1 billion. But it definitely, I think, for them to feel confident, they probably want to see it hit, I'd say probably $720 million. So if you take, $720 million, and you subtract $580 million from that, because that's, $140 million in, obviously, it's not what they're netting, that's what they're grossing, but no, I did not adjust for inflation. I don't want to do that right now. Please don't make me do that right now. Remember to adjust for inflation. I don't want to. I could, but yeah, so I'm just, I guess, I don't know. I think if they make 700, they need to make 580 to make their budget back to break even. I think this film can definitely hit 580. I would love to see it make more. But I don't know. I can't make that call. But I think they'll probably be hoping that it lands somewhere in Fallout's range, the 786 million. I'm sure that's what they're hoping to have as a repeat. And somewhere in there, somewhere in like the 750, which I'd love to see. I'd love to see it make more. Yes, I know when you adjust for inflation, they did make more, but it's, I don't know. Yeah, but I don't think Dead Reckoning is going to be death for a movie theater, and this isn't a small production company, I don't think it's going to be $140 million is not a small profit. And I don't think it's going to be the death for the movie theater at all, Winter Soldier. So, if that's how you feel, I hear you. I get it. I guess we'll see when it officially drops. But I really don't see it. I honest to God see Mission Impossible wiping the floor with everything else. Yeah, Lost Pompeii lad. Yeah, I think despite the hanky panky with the IMAX mission, will wipe the floor with most movies this year. Yeah, I agree. I'm just, I don't see it. I don't see this movie flopping. Cruise is doing a lot of the same. Cruise is doing a lot of the same marketing that he did for Top Gun Maverick, and that film did incredibly well. Oh yeah, no, I'm saying I'm not. You're completely entitled to your opinion, Winter Soldier, by all means. I just disagree with it, but you have 40 years experience, so I hear what you're saying. I think putting one film for 3 weeks in every IMAX theater in North America, I feel like that is what's going to kill a theater faster than, you know, a Mission Impossible movie. But I don't know. I am not overly enthused, to say the least. And Disney, I see what you guys are putting in there. From my understanding, the diversity chief stepped down. She was not fired, as far as I know. But let's. I'm sure Nerdrotic will cover this much better than I will. But 6 years at the company, more than 6 years. She is the chief diversity officer and senior VP, Latondra Newton, and is exiting her role as the chief diversity officer. She's going to devote more time to her own creative company. In her role as head of DEI operations, Newton was charged with overseeing the company's commitment to produce entertainment that reflects a global audience and sustains a welcoming and inclusive workplace for everyone. Unless you don't, share their beliefs or fit with their agenda. So, that's the news on Disney. It doesn't look like she was necessarily fired. It looks like she is stepping down, but I can't say one way or another. It's just, I don't know. But Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 hits theaters July 12th, and my hype train is for this movie. I really hope that it just smashes expectations. The fact that they're saying it at most is going to bring in 80 million over the weekend, I really hope it hits like 120. I really hope it does, just to, I don't know, not even like to rub it in anyone's faces, but just to prove that this is what audiences want, whether they are fans, casuals, or normies. This is what we want. And we are willing to spend our money on what we want to see. I think that's a very important message for Hollywood to hear. I don't know. I guess, hold on. Let's see if I can figure this out. How does one... There it is. Haha. Okay, I'm going to drop a poll. I know there's only 20 of us here, but every vote counts. So, would you rather see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning or rather see Oppenheimer? So that's... I still can't believe they're using the Flash as a gauge at all for this. It just blows my mind. Okay. And just click. There we go. Okay. So you guys should be able to vote. And I lost 5 of you because I did a poll. Oh, fantastic. No more polls. You're going to drop some 4 a.m. ballots, No Leaf Clover? I'm here for it. I don't know. I think it's going to do well also. Action, entertainment, and escapism. Exactly. That is a lot of what people are looking for. Longevity is more important than a mega opening weekend. Think Top Gun Maverick staying in theaters for 8 months versus Quantumanium, huge opening, massive drop out of theaters 45 days later. Well, they had a horrible they had a horrible opening and then a massive drop off. Like it barely hit expectations. And then nobody went to see it, and it was supposed to be in theaters for like 4 months, and they pulled it early because it was doing so terribly. And I think like right now Japan is still showing. Hold on. I think it's still in theaters over there. I know you guys get to hear my clickety clack. Let's see. I know I saw it. Yeah, here we go. As of May 30th, 2023, Tom Cruise is still flying high in Japan. Top Gun Maverick 1 year later. Talk about legs, or more appropriately wings. Paramount Skydance's Top Gun Maverick is still playing in Japanese cinemas a full year on from its debut. Continuing on from a stratospheric and super leggy run, the sequel is on its 365th day of release, became Tom Cruise's biggest film ever in the market. In doing so, it overtook 2003's The Last Samurai, and Maverick is still flying on local screens. It'd become Paramount's #1 movie of all time in Japan in August, and also marks the same milestone for Skydance. So, like, this movie is still in theaters over in Japan. Like, so I don't disagree with you. I hear what you're saying, Winter Soldier. Absolutely, longevity, like it has to have legs. The opening weekend is important, but it has to be able to carry itself. It has to have legs. So the fact that, Top Gun Maverick is still in theaters in Japan a year later, that says a lot. And I don't know. I think if Dead Reckoning is just a fun Mission Impossible film, then it's going to deliver, and it's going to blow Hollywood's pathetic expectations, or what do they like to say, subvert Hollywood's expectations rather quickly. So we have a 97%, 92%. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning wins the poll with 92% of the vote. Thank you to everybody that voted. I appreciate y'all. So I'm just saying a lot has changed for movie theaters. A lot has changed in cinema. A lot's changed in Hollywood. But quite frankly, like Tom Cruise, there's a reason the man is acting royal. He's action royalty. He's Hollywood royalty. And I think people are going to be shocked at the goodwill, because here's the thing. And we'll get into the numbers on this. I can't believe I'm doing this. Force Awakens, the reason it did so well was because it had the goodwill from the previous Star Wars films, went pre-Disney. So before Disney, it had all this goodwill. So worldwide box office, 2 billion plus, right? That's amazing. That's a lot of money. I could be wrong, but I don't think, because wasn't it 3 billion total? Yeah. So Last Jedi, it got over the 1 billion mark, but it did not do near as well as Force Awakens. And that's because people went and saw Force Awakens and were horribly disappointed, myself included. I have not watched Last Jedi, nor will I ever, and I have not watched, what's the last one called? Somebody help me. What is it? Does anybody know what the Disney Wars number 3 is? Force Awakens, Last Jedi. What's the last one? Thank you. Should be Rise of Palpatine, absolutely. Rise of Skywalker. So what did that one bring in? That one didn't even hit 1.1 bill. Like, if we're talking about benchmarks, I mean, all these movies should have done was appreciate. They should. People were you could see it with the Force Awakens. I was excited. I went into the theater. I wanted to see that movie. I was ready to see Star Wars on the big screen again. And I walked out of it and I was like, that movie was horrible. I hated it from the minute they called the Millennium Falcon trash, and it doesn't make any sense that Poe would not know what it was because he was part of he was literally part of the Empire or the First Order. Okay? So it doesn't make any sense that he wouldn't recognize that ship, because when your enemy, symbols are very important in war. That's why flags and standards are so important even to this day. So something like the Millennium Falcon is not going to be something that he's not going to know. And the fact that she knows of the Millennium Falcon and is able to work it better than Han Solo, but didn't recognize it when she saw it. Like, it's just inside it's Star Wars, it's science fiction. They're out having, they're it's supposed to be, elements of it are supposed to be fantastical, but there are laws and rules within the universe that you have to maintain within your own universe for it to make sense and for it to be coherent and cohesive and for it to be good. And Force Awakens was terrible. I refused to watch the other two, and I'm never going to. I have no desire to. I've seen enough clips and I've heard enough about them, and I've read enough articles and excuses and them trying to come out with novelizations to try and fix the problems. I just ugh, I hate it. And this movie, like, here's the thing. It came out in December. So this was pre-COVID. This was pre-coof. So, because the world didn't shut down until like March of 2020. So, I mean, I don't know. Can't really use the pandemic as an excuse there. It was just, I mean, they're gonna, but it was just a bad film. It was a horrible, horrible film. Nobody wanted to watch it. Force Awakens was awful. Last Jedi was terrible. I mean, when you have Mark Hamill saying that it's Jake Skywalker, not Luke Skywalker, and he had to basically enter into an entirely different mindset and a different character, then it's it's not Star Wars. It's Disney Wars. Yeah, so April 2020 is when the lockdown started. New York City subway didn't stop until May 4th. So, I mean, it was, so December, January, February, March, April. That's 5 months in theaters. This film had nothing to do with the pandemic as to why these numbers are so low. It's that people were done with Star Wars. This number should have been, for this film alone, should have been 2.5 billion or more. And it didn't do it because Disney ruined it. Disney Lucasfilm is not Lucasfilm. This is Disney Wars. It's not Star Wars. So it's just, you can't, you can't, it's not an assembly line. You can't just, add a part, move it along, add a part, move it along, add a part, move it along, and then have a experience that people are going to want to watch. You can't expect to find a formula in a bottle and just duplicate it over and over and over again and be successful. It's not how it works. It works by taking the basics, telling a good story. Like, if you do the basics to perfection, or as close to perfection as you can get, people are more than likely going to enjoy your story. Because that's really what it's about. It's not about the shock value or the flashiness or trying to outsmart anybody. I mean, I go back to this clip a lot, but literally in The Mummy, there's a scene and he's like, what does it, and they're like, what does this entail? And he's like, rescue the damsel in distress, kill the bad guy, save the world. That's it. It's literally that simple. It's literally that simple. Rescue the damsel in distress, kill the bad guy, save the world. You want your formula, Disney? There, you have it. There you go. From one of the best films ever made, 1999, The Mummy. Rescue the damsel in distress, kill the bad guy, save the world. That's all we want. I'm done with the nihilism and the postmodernism and the just absolute dog crap agenda shoved into everything. I cannot wait for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I am so looking forward to this. And I swear, if I have to go see it in IMAX 15 times, I will. I will 100%. Just like, I'll just go watch it in IMAX twice a day, every day. For the week it's in IMAX. The week and 2 days that it's in IMAX. I'll take my parents. I'll take my siblings. I'll take my nieces and nephews. I'll take my kiddos. I don't care. Like, assuming this is good, I will 100% do that. Absolutely. I will be broke, but it will be worth it. Who knows? Maybe my mom and dad will pay for me. Be like, Mom, Dad, let's go see a movie. Also, can you pay for my ticket? As long as I don't get any concessions, I should be okay. I should be okay as long as I don't get concessions every single time. I'll just get like a cup of water or something. But I don't understand why they're rooting for the failure of this film outside of it will once again prove them wrong and prove that we as an audience know what we want and we've been asking for it. I mean, we've been telling you for ages what it is we're looking for, what it is we want. And we got called ists and phobes and toxic and horrible people. All because we wanted to see good stories. All because we wanted to see good stories. That's it. How dare you demand any kind of quality from us when that's literally our job? I wonder, could I sue Hollywood for fiduciary irresponsibility? Because our taxes literally bailed them out. And they're still not giving us what we want. So I feel like there's a lawsuit in there somewhere. I don't know. Somebody get Nick Rekieta. I have no idea. Is that a thing? Can we sue them for lack of fiduciary responsibility? I would really, really, really like it. If we could do that. I'm just saying, I'm really sick of the stuff they're pumping out. And the fact that our tax dollars went to bail them out, not once, but twice. Not okay. Not okay. That's not where I want my tax dollars to go. You got to remember, most movies that sent these benchmarks over $1 billion was reliant on China. With them blocking most movies now, Hollywood isn't adapting budgets and still expecting the same profit. Yeah. But Maverick hit $1 billion plus without China. That was the other big thing. They did it without China. And I honestly think Mission Impossible has a chance to do it again. If for no other reason than people really, really want to support Tom Cruise. But I don't know. Time will tell. We're closing in on it. I don't know where they think Indiana Jones is gonna be any kind of competition for Dead Reckoning, but the fact that that's why it's not coming out on 4th of July weekend really makes me angry. Like, that blows my mind. I can't even fathom. I can't even fathom a world where Phoebe Waller-Bridge and the Dial of Disgustingness is going to even touch the shadow of Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. I don't know. Like, I think people have a lot of high hopes and high expectations for Mission Impossible, and they have virtually none for Dial of Destiny. And I'm not looking forward to it. It's not going to be any kind of competition for Dead Reckoning. And I honestly don't think that Oppenheimer is going to be either. I just don't. But I think based on what we've seen and the fact that the Mission Impossible films have just garnered more support in theaters over the years. I mean, this is Rogue Nation, again, 688, and we're talking Fallout had 786 plus million. I mean, this has a very real chance at having solid legs that's going to carry it, maybe not to the $1 billion mark, but if they can hit in between the 688 and 786, if they can hit in that margin, then the movie turns a profit. And that's more than a lot of films can currently say. That is for dang sure. So I don't know. I guess time will tell, but I honestly do believe that Dead Reckoning is going to turn a profit and be more profitable than Oppenheimer. I really do. But I guess yes or no, do you guys think Maverick, do you think that Dead Reckoning is going to be profitable? We'll put it that way. Here, I'll drop it in the chat. Here you go. Let me know what you think in the poll. We'll make it a quick one. But I don't know. Do you think Dead Reckoning is going to turn a profit? Not is it going to hit $1 billion. That's not the benchmark for profitability. Again, like we saw, it has to hit approximately 580 million to break even. So that means anything above 580 million will make it profitable. So do you think it will turn a profit? Do you think it'll hit 590? Because that's 10 million in profit. It's not a big profit. The net is pathetic, but it would gross 10 million in profit. So I really do think they're hoping for Fallout numbers. They're hoping somewhere between 750 and 780 worldwide. But I guess here, let's see. So We're going to give the poll about 20 more seconds. So let me know if you think Dead Reckoning is going to be profitable or not. Right now we have 11 votes and they all say yes. So 5 seconds. Get your vote in if you haven't. And time. Okay, so everybody thinks that at the very least Dead Reckoning is going to turn a profit, which, when you think about it, based on The Flash, how The Flash performed, and the last few Disney Pixar films have performed, I don't know. I think if you make even if you net a small profit, it's still a win, honestly. I don't know. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just thinking about it. Like, the trailer is just too dang good for it to not turn a profit. Well, it's not just that. I mean, like we've been saying, the behind the scenes stuff here. Let me see if I can find that again really quick. It's, let me, okay. I can do it. Oops. It just like the passion that the cast and the crew have had while they've been on the press tour for this. I just, here it is. Un momento, por favor. Here we go. All right, like,
That I drove. That is the car that we drove with Haley Atwell in there. I can't believe that it's at the bottom of these steps. We were doing donuts and the tires were on fire, smoking. Not on fire, they're smoking. It's really amazing to be here. It took a lot to be able to film here during that time period.
yeah, see, like,
amazing what the
he's
country
just
did, what
grateful
Rome did, what Venice did,
and
to
gracious, and
finally
he
be here at
seems
this
so
moment where we're
excited.
sharing it with everyone.
And
It's
I
quite a
don't,
privilege. It's quite a privilege.
I don't know.
This
Like,
is
oh,
a
here's
city of
some
cinema.
more of it.
I mean, the films that I grew up with watching, of Italian cinema, and to be able to take these cars and create action and develop character. The character of Haley Atwell, Grace, really inspired the tone that we are allowed to have through Rome. And I've always wanted to film in Venice, and McHugh and I had talked about it for many years.
Ooh, see, he gets like,
from Rome
this
to
man
Venice.
is excited.
You'll see it.
He gets to,
both
he got to
different
film
tones
in Venice.
and
That's a
represent
big
different
deal.
emotional
He got
aspect
to
of this
film in
picture.
Rome.
There's plenty of excitement, plenty of action, and very vivid characters, and a global cinema experience for audiences that really need to be seen on the big screen. I know there's other ways to see it, but this film was really made from top to bottom, from every single location, from the characters,
exactly,
from the scale of the film, the mix that we have, the music in the film. It is an immersive experience for an audience.
Music. I was scared of that. But yeah, so I mean, guys, that's what we have to look forward to. I mean, he didn't say don't come see the film if you voted for so and so, or if you believe so and so, or if you think such and such, don't come to this film. That isn't what he said at all. He's grateful to be there. He's grateful to be filming. He gets to film in Venice, which is something he's been wanting to do. It's about the experience for the audience. Like, did you hear what he said? It's a global experience. They get to go, they're doing on location filming. It's mostly practical. He does the stunt driving. He even talked about it in that short clip. There's so much to look forward to. Like, I'm excited for the film. He didn't say, that he didn't talk about the characters or what the actors and actresses had to go through, and that's why you should come see this movie, or because such and such is behind the screen. No, he's humbled and grateful that he gets to produce a film that is a project, a passion of his that he loves to do. And he wants to put it out there for audiences to enjoy. He first and foremost is thinking about the fans and the audience and what it means to us and what it means to him to be able to do this, and how grateful he is to be a part of this. And to try and cheapen that or lessen it or say that, it's, oh, well, because it doesn't make $1 billion, it's not actually a hit. And because that headline's going to be out there. It's going to be, did Top Gun Maverick, did the soaring sales of Top Gun Maverick make people overestimate Tom Cruise's actual star power, or whatever BS they're going to come up with. And then when this movie does fantastic, I don't know if this movie is showing in China or a solid action film, a solid Mission Impossible film, and it's filled with escapism and fun and immersiveness, I don't see why this wouldn't be able to turn a profit. I don't. I can't imagine, especially with all the goodwill from Top Gun Maverick. To me, there's just no way that this film won't be successful. What it does for theaters, I can't say one way or another. I hope that it helps theaters make a lot of money. I hope it helps theaters be profitable. I know there's a lot. I know AMC is struggling, but they kind of made their own bed. I know I've talked a bit about that in the past. But these are all things to consider. But the idea that a man who is literally attempting to Hollywood is on life support, and that life support is Tom Cruise. And apparently, allegedly, if Henry Cavill gets his way and follows in Tom Cruise's footsteps, apparently Henry Cavill will be the one that will be doing CPR on Hollywood after Tom Cruise. So I guess we'll find out. I don't know if Henry Cavill has the same kind of star power that Tom Cruise does, but time will tell on that as well. This clip, it's so funny to me because he's just looked like he's having the time of his life. She's over here like ticked off with the hairs in her face. It's just, it just makes me happy. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm really ready for it. I am like, I want to know what this scene is about. How do they get out of it? They're no longer handcuffed together. So is this before or after? So I don't know. I'm loving the still. I'm loving the behind the scenes. I'm loving all of the, actual trailers that have been released. I can't play them on here because Paramount is really fussy about that stuff. That's why the stuff I've shown you has been on Twitter. Because it's behind the scenes stuff, because I don't need to get nailed, and I try to stay away from any music because Paramount is super touchy about that stuff. Oh, Hollywood Reporter says Mission Impossible got a China release certificate. Very cool. Very cool. So that's good to know. So if it does release in China, I guess we'll definitely see. But we've been going for 2 hours, guys. If you haven't already, you can still pre-order your tickets for this film. And I know I'm looking forward to it. And it's, oh, there we go. Look at that. Has landed a high value release date in China on July 14th. Apparently they're big Tom Cruise fans too. Oops, sorry. I hear little ones in the background that are supposed to be asleep. But thank you everybody for showing up tonight. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for watching. I hope you go check out Dead Reckoning. It releases July 12th here in the States. So I think it's going to be a good time, and hopefully it will blow everyone's expectations out of the water, including Hollywood's non-existent ones. That Hollywood desperately needs this movie to fail, because otherwise it will be Tom Cruise literally proving them wrong again. And so they're desperate to see him flop. I don't think it's going to happen, but that's to us. So the movie's been produced. We get to go see it now and see if it delivers what we want and what we've been asking for. Let me check the donation side really quick. No donations over there. Thank you, Miss Martin, for the super chat from earlier, and thank you everybody for being here. I really appreciate it. Appreciate every single one of you guys. And make sure you vote with your wallets. So God bless, Godspeed.